Look at this. Somebody put a auction book on my desk. It's full of old stock certificates, all kinds of California Gold Rush memorabilia, old coins, and lots of cool stuff. But look at that, 100-ounce nugget, man. 100-ounce nugget. That's a humdinger. I'd like to bid on that. I think I might be able to get it, but it's gonna be a big price. Hey, Cindy, we gotta go to Sacramento. You ready to go?
I don't think so.
The auction's tomorrow, so we gotta head out right away.
How much you looking to spend on that?
As much as it takes. The auction's tomorrow in Sacramento. We gotta go right away. Well, we're here in Sacramento, the state capital of California. You smell that? Smell that gold? I smell that nugget. 100-ounce nugget.
$375 in the back. $375 on the phone. Got $400,000 here. 400. Anybody at 4 1/4? Looking for 4 1/4? I have 400,000 here.
This is a good little secret mine back up in here. This is another fine mess you got us into, Lucy. Big gold, here we come. Woo!
This episode of Gold Fever is sponsored in part by Mine Lab, world's best metal detection technologies, and by Gold Prospectors Association of America. It's not about having the gold, it's about finding the gold.
Where does gold come from? It is found in many countries of the world. It is found in many of our states, too. Gold is deposited from gases and liquids which rise from beneath the surface of the earth. The discovery of gold in 1848 caused the first great migration to California. Gold mining was an important industry for many years. The first great migration of people came to California because of the discovery of gold in 1848. Gold was one of the main reasons for California's becoming a state when it did.
I told you once, I told you twice, I didn't want to move to California.
Yeah, baby, but there's gold out here. There's gold, I tell ya. Well, we're here in Sacramento, the state capital of California, and quite a place it is. A lot of gold rush history here. The nugget that we're going after at the auction was found not too far from here, and it's up there by the Mullicoff diggings. And it was a hydraulic operation, and it got some of the history on it, but there's a lot of stock certificates from the different mines, and there's some jewelry over there too, besides the nugget, but we gotta get that nugget. Let's get that nugget. Huh? Come on, let's get the nugget.
No.
Photograph, nice piece. 150, 550, now 6. 3,000 I have. Now 3,250. But at 3,250.
You smell that? You smell that gold? I smell that nugget. Where's it at?
Well, we gotta set limits, because I'm not gonna retire.
No
in the
limit.
poorhouse.
No limit. I gotta get it. It's my nugget. Ah.
Any jewelry?
No jewelry. You gotta save everything for the big nugget. You gotta save it all up so we can put it all down on the big nugget.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Big gold, here we come. Smell that? Smell that gold? 100-ounce nugget. 100-ounce nugget. 100-ounce nugget. That's a big one. That's a big one. I have to admit, there were some other historical pieces that did catch my eye. But Jim Valier was gracious enough to give us some insight into the piece that overshadowed everything. Now this was found not too far from here.
It was found close to the Malakoff Diggings State Park, where they did a lot of that hydraulic stuff, where you guys have been down in Gold Fever, and it was found near the town of Washington, so we call it the Washington Nugget.
Well, it's nice and solid. That's nice, you know, for displaying it. You know, it's not like a crystal nugget where it's brittle and pieces of it can break off. This thing's been traveling for a lot of years, and it came out of a really rich lode and has traveled for a long time. And what's really cool is you can, you know, see some of the material that's left inside it and around here, and people are like, well, why don't you clean that out of there, get that dirt out of there? But that's what you want to keep it
That's
there.
the fingerprint.
That just makes it unique and a real specimen piece. How long ago was this unearthed?
This was found last year.
Last year. So there's still some out there, and that's proof of the pudding right there. Coming out last year. Well, if I don't get the winning bid on this, I'll have to go out and dig one out. I'll have to go find one.
How come we don't find ones like that?
We will. I'm working on it.
Work harder.
Working on it. This one's just a little bit bigger than the ones that I've found. Biggest piece I found was a 19.5 ouncer. This one's about 5 times that big.
150. Anybody at 150? 150 in the front row, now 175. 150 here, now 175. It's a good pair to go with the last one. 150 here, now 175. 150 in the front row.
A little bit of strategy when it comes to auctions. I wanted to make a few bids before the big nugget to let them know that I was willing to do whatever it takes to get the winning bid. And also to bid on some other stuff, let them know that I was able to quit and they wouldn't be able to run the price up on me. I also wanted to look around and scope out the competition too.
Any advance. Last chance.
I had everything in place. I was gonna get that big nugget. Who wants a big nugget? Especially to spend $250,000 on one. They're like little children. They're heavy, and you can't just leave them laying around anywhere. I'm gonna get that nugget.
150, 150. I'll start at $100 one time. $100 bill once up front. 75. 150 in the front row. 175 to you. 150 I have. Now 175. Any advance on 150?
He's moving right along.
$200. 3130. Cheap.
He went too fast.
Opens at 300. 300 I have here. Now 3 1/4. 300 here. Now 3 1/4. 325 there. Now 350. 350 here. Now 375. 375. Now 4. 400 up here. Now 4 1/4. 4 1/4 I have. Now 450. 450.
I'm sure Cindy was thinking there's better ways to spend $250,000 than on a piece of dirt.
550. Yes, 550. Now 6. 550 is all out. 550. 550. Last chance. Nope, 550 to Paul, 3287. 2423. The Gold Hunter, exceptionally popular and very rare print. 1850s mining. Opens up at 1250, 3008.
I was going home with this piece. I was also going to let them know that I was a serious
14
bidder.
back here, now 15. 1400 in the back, now 1500 bid. 1600 in the back, now 17. 1800 in the back, now 19. 1800 here, now 19. 2000 up front, now 2100. 2100 here, now 22. 22 I have, now 23. I'm at 2300 right here. 2400, thank you. Now 25. 2400 here, I have 2500 here. Now 26. 2500, now 26. 2500 I have, now 26. 2500 I have. Any advance on 2500? Last chance. 2500. What's your number? 3358. Thank you. 2424.
super cool to own a piece of California gold rush history. Even Cindy was getting in the swing of things. She won the bid on a few lots. But the big prize was still to come. The table was set, and I was ready for the winning bid on the giant nugget.
We are tremendously pleased to be able to offer this nugget. I hope everybody read my story. It's a story written from the heart. When the man that found it was in this room. But this is a texture that any mining geologist will never, ever forget. Never. And it's so exciting. And I want to tell you that after that paper went on the web, I was contacted by two geologists, one my age and one another 10 years senior, who shared the excitement. One of the emails I should have brought and read it to you, because he said, when I saw the picture, I had goosebumps all up and down my arm, because that's exactly what I saw. The only thing I never got to see was the gold attached to the original conglomerate. So it's very, very special. So we are tickled to death to be able to offer this today. So here we are on lot 2574. We've announced the opening price a number of months ago at $250,000. $250,000. Do I have $250,000? I have $250,000. Now $275,000. $250,000. Now $275,000. $250,000 here. Now $275,000. $250,000. $275,000 in the back of the room. Now $300,000. I have $300,000 here in front. Now $325,000. $300,000 here. Now $325,000. I have $325,000 in the back of the room. Now $350,000. I have $350,000 here on the phone. Now $375,000. $350,000 here. Now $375,000.
Perry on the phone.
$350,000 here. Now $375,000. $350,000. Now $375,000. $350,000.
Didn't even get a bid in. It's out of my range.
$350,000 on the phone.
I'll just have to go and find it.
$350,000. Any advance on $350,000. $375,000 in the back. $375,000 on the phone. Now $400,000. $400,000 here. Thank you. Now $425,000. $400,000 right here. Now $425,000. $400,000. Now $425,000. I have $400,000 on the phone, on the wall. $400,000. $400,000 here on the wall. $400,000. Anybody at $425,000? Looking for $425,000? I have $400,000 here. Fair warning. Sold. $400,000. Thank you. What's the bidder number? What's the bidder number?
Oh well, just gonna have to get out there and start digging, man. I'm gonna have to dig for it. I didn't get it.
You didn't.
I didn't have enough money. Well, you know, I was looking at it and I was thinking, you know, bullion price is, you know, about $1,400, $1,437 an ounce, fluctuating around in there. And then it's not, you know, your placer gold's not pure gold, so it's not 999 fine. So if you discounted 10%, you took spot, and you know there's a few matrix in there. You're probably looking at the gold, just the gold value at about $130,000, just the gold. Yeah, you know, I was sitting there thinking, $250,000, $300,000. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. But it went $400,000.
400. And
Woo!
it's a special piece, and obviously there's a lot of people that felt that way. And you know, we're flattered, and I'm sure the owner's flattered, but don't get these opportunities often.
Bye-bye. The only thing now is I'm gonna go and dig me and find me one. This thing's only been light of day for a year and a half. I'm gonna find me
one
one.
in a billion.
I'm gonna find me one.
Yeah, exactly.
Get to digging.
Over $500,000 by the time they get done paying Uncle Sam his share. I tell you, there's a lot of gold left out there to be found, and I'd much rather be finding it than buying it.
Nugget. $400,000 in gold just laying out here. Where is it? It's got to be around here somewhere. Hey, this looks like a piece of the blue lead conglomerate right there. It turns kind of brown. It used to be blue when it's back before it gets exposed to the air. But this is a typical kind of place out here in the mother lode where you find those conglomerates. See, look at that conglomerate right there. That's got that big chunks of gold in there. Now there's two things I'm looking for out here. One is the chispas. Now that's these remnant pieces of quartz out here. You see this piece of quartz? Boy, that's a good looking piece right there. Now you can have some gold stringers and some chunks of gold stuck on this, and that'd be a prince's prize. I don't know, it'd be $400,000, but you could find one in the $100,000 range. I won't say pretty easy, because I'm not gonna kid you. It's hard work. But I tell you, it's better chances out here of hitting $400,000 than playing the lottery, and it's a whole heck of a lot funner out here, and it don't cost you all that much out here. I'm just enjoying it out here, swinging my metal detector, and maybe I swing over the top, because the old timers, they didn't have the technology of these metal detectors, and they're out here running their giants and their hydraulic operations and just blasting this material up here, and they weren't looking for chunks of gold inside this quartz like this, or those big 100-ounce nuggets inside those chunks of conglomerate. Coming back through these tailing piles, you can get seriously lucky, and not too far from here is where that 100-ounce nugget was found. And just over the hill from here, there's a huge hydraulic mine over there. It's a state park, the Malakoff Diggings, and man, that's something to see. We stopped by there earlier on our way out to this spot, and it's a pretty interesting place. We'll take you and tour you through there. I'm gonna keep swinging my metal detector out here, and maybe I'll get lucky, and when we come back from the Malakoff, maybe I'll have something to show you. This is another fine mess you got us into, Lucy. We're trying to push it through these back roads, and sometimes your roads get a little bit rougher than you think they're gonna be. And if it isn't too deep of snow, or a fallen tree, or a rock slide, or cutting a tire on a rock and flatten out, we'll make it. But man, this is rough going through here. We're trying to push on over to the Malakoff Diggings before it gets too late. That's how it goes on Gold Fever, using a minivan where you need a four-wheel drive. Mom and the soccer kids in the back. Whee!
In the early days, most of the gold was placer gold, found by men who traveled with their burros and their gold pans. Hydraulic mining was used in the early days and is still used today.
It's like a man-made Grand Canyon out here. Whew, that's a lot of digging. Maybe not quite as big as the Grand Canyon, but man, they sure moved a lot of material out of here. But one of the things that caught my eye right away was these quartz rocks that's laying around out here, all this white quartz, and that's what the gold usually is traveling in. And so I imagine they got down to the bedrock out here and finding all this gold that was in those ancient quartz riverbed material. Man, that must have been rich out here for them to keep digging digging and digging, and they did pull a lot of gold out of here. But that's some side out there. You can see this bottom part, all this silty material is what they call their slickens, and this was what they had troubles with, and eventually what closed them down was all the slickens. Now, I hear that there's a tunnel down here over 1.5 miles long where the material built up, and they had to drain it. They had to move this material someplace after they ran it through their sluice boxes, and right down over in there is where I'm suspicious the tunnel is, and I thought that might be a good place to go take a look around and maybe poke around. But man, this is really something out here. Malakoff diggings. Well, before we go over and talk to Greg, the ranger here at the Malakoff State Park, I wanted to show you this spot. This is a tunnel, and the water's boiling down through here pretty good today. A lot of runoff, and you can see it's still running muddy coming out of here, in a particular yellow kind of muddy, silty muddy water coming out of there. And this is a drain tunnel. Now, they had all the diggings up there, and they were pumping all that water, and it built up on them. They had to drain that water and run the material through here somehow because it built up on them, and they built 2 of these over 1 mile long tunnels. Probably a really good place to look for gold right down in here, but I don't know if the ranger, Greg, would like us dredging in here, but we're gonna go over and talk with him and get some history of this place. Hydraulic mining, using water cannons to move mountains of dirt. By the mid-1880s, it's estimated that over 11 million ounces of gold had been recovered by hydraulic mining. That's about $17 billion at today's prices. Welcome to the Malakoff Hydraulic Mine, and this is what this place is all about. Big old water cannon. This is what they call a monitor, and this baby can shoot some water out. Let her rip, boys. But hydraulic mining had its devastating effect on the environment, choking the rivers and farmlands with tailings and debris. Subsequently, hydraulic mining was outlawed around the turn of the century. Woo! Not much is left of these old mines. Even the scars they left behind are disappearing and lost to the annals of history. Greg, caretaker here, ranger at an old hydraulic mine. You said you've been out here for 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years, yes.
Probably seen a lot of people come and go and a lot of stories.
A lot of stories about the old mining town and the visitors who still come back with the names of the old miners as well. A lot of them live locally.
Well, tell us some of the history here of the park.
Well, the Malakoff Diggings is the largest hydraulic mine in the world that we know of, and especially in California. And the hydraulic mining era in North Bloomfield, which is the historic town here, really began to go full steam in the 1860s. So the park itself and the mine started going in the 1860s and lasted really until the Sawyer decision in 1884, which made it so that hydraulic mines had to capture their debris. And for a mine to make money like this, they really didn't have a way to capture the debris to make to meet the Sawyer decision rules. So it started to die out after 1884. In the early 1900s, some other hydraulic mines in the area continued to operate illegally and dump their tailings into the river and so forth. But basically, 1884 was really the end of hydraulic mining here.
How did the park come to be?
Oh, good question. The state park, some locals, folks in the area, they got together and they saw that the park and the structures in the park were decaying, the old mining town. And they saw the story being lost as well, not being told. And they said, we need to get together, petition, and have a state park. And eventually, the state park was enacted in 1965. And in 1966, we officially opened Malakoff Diggins State Park to preserve the story of hydraulic mining so that people could come up here, learn about what happened in this important part of California history, and then hopefully not repeat the same mistakes that were made.
Yeah, well, thanks for
no problem, Tom.
Showing us around.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the park.
And I appreciate the history and what you guys do here.
No, thanks very much, and we hope to see you back.
I know somewhere out there in those tailing piles, there's gotta be another 100-ounce nugget just waiting to be found.
I see it. That's a piece of gold right there. That's one that they left behind.
Pretty nice chunk of gold, fresh to the daylight right there. You see that, baby? It's not a 100-ounce nugget. It's got to grow up to be bigger than that, but there could be a 100-ounce nugget right down in here or inside this material. There's still a lot of gold out here, I tell you, a lot of gold. That's a little bit too dangerous down in there with all this wet water, and it's kind of loose. It's ready to give way right there. But those are really good places. You can see all that conglomerate down in there, all the blue lead material, and it's producing gold. Gold, I tell you, right there, gold. Now, I'm guessing this one probably came down from up in here, and it's been eroding down in here, and it was sitting right on top of a rock right over here. And I swung over the top of it and got it, but you take a good look at that. That's a nice piece right there. Nice chunk of gold. Looks just like that big chunk, but just a little bit smaller. But I'll take it nonetheless. I think I'm gonna take that back and show Cindy, wrap up my metal detecting out here, and get her out here and get a sluice box set up down in the creek and do a little sluicing. But man, oh man, look at that. She's gonna be happy with that. I'm gonna bring that home to her, give it to her. Maybe I'll put it on a necklace and put it around her neck. Huh? Huh?
Well, I'm following this little creek up through here, and look at that. That right there is a lode mine. Lode mining. Now, what they did is they would come up through here and they'd find either quartz outcropping that had gold on it, or they'd find these places where the river would cut down through the bedrock and deposit material in there, and then it would shift once it loaded up a material and move someplace else because it loaded full of material, and then the old timers would come and they'd dig back in here and follow that old ancient gravel beds back in there. But that's looking pretty precarious. But we gotta go in and check it out, huh? I don't ever recommend going in underground, but you gotta be careful. This one looks pretty good, solid around the front, but I'm just gonna slowly peek my way on in there. Keeping an eye out for any loose or overhanging rocks for potential cave-in up on the top part, and also any bats. Looks a little wet though right now for bats. They don't like it that wet. But look at, see this right here? That's where the gold's attaching on to. And you got some of this stuff that's rounded rock because it's been washed by water action back in here in pockets and rolling down through here. So this looks like some pretty good material back in here. I think what I'm gonna do
is I'm gonna set up my sluice out there in the little creek, and then I'm gonna come back in here and get some of this material into my pan and take it out there and run it in my sluice while there's water out there, because probably very few times, once every 5 years, there's water running out there. Here's some more of the ore vein running through here, and this is all loose. This will run through my sluice box pretty good. Is that a piece of gold right there? Man, no, it's just kind of a yellow colored rock. I see gold everywhere now. Look at that water coming down through here. Hey, this is looking good. I'm gonna go get my sluice box set up and come back in here and start running some of this material.
There. Little sluice is working good. Got a runner right there. I'm gonna go get some material. Run me about 15, 20 panfuls. You know, it's easier than panning them all. You know, you can run material pretty doggone quick. Right through there, little sluice. Don't take no gasoline, no motor, or nothing. It's free labor right there. That's the material I want right there, that kind of muddy looking material that's in there. It runs all the way down through here. Right in here, there's some more of it. We'll just run all this stuff right here too. It's all good stuff. Take this out and run it through. Ooh. Now I'm just gonna run my material through my sluice. Just feed it on in there. Yeah, look at that. Go back and get me another load, just like that. Just like that. Wash off those larger size rocks. Looking for yellow gold. Down. Oh, look at that. Now, a lot of times, what you want to look for is right in between where the gold will shoot in and kind of make its own vein in with the quartz vein and then the gold vein and then your schist on the outside there. I'll take gold any which way I can get it. I'm gonna take this stuff right here that's been sloughing down out of there. Seems like every time I come out, it gets a little darker and a little darker. And I get a little more tireder and a little more tireder. This is looking good. My little sluice box set up here running real good. Watch out I don't pour water down in my boot. Now you don't want to run too much at one time because that booms the box. You want to give that gold a chance to separate. Let the water work its way down through there and let it trap down inside the box. So not too much material at one time. Slow your feed down. Let the water do the action, rake off any of the larger size rocks, and you'll save your gold down in there. Looking good, looking good. It's better if you got somebody on the outside that can run it for you. Usually Cindy does it for me, but she didn't want to come out into the storm, and can't say as I blame her. Only us folks that got the real bad, crazy gold fever come out into the storm and toil around back in here, but there's gold. I'm always seeing gold, man. Whew. Oh, it's getting pretty doggone dark and I got a little ways to hike, so I think this is gonna be my last pan.
I'm not seeing like big chunks of gold laying up here in the front part of my sluice, but that's not that big a deal because it's hard to see your gold inside the sluice. And you shouldn't really look for it too much while you're digging because that slows you down. And then we'll just lift it up, put all the material back in the pan. Now, see right there? That looked like a little piece of gold right there. A small little piece. I don't see anything big, but we'll wash that in here. I want to go nice and slow. I want to lose my pan. That's all my hard work in there. Whoop. That looks pretty good. Now I boiled all that material down to just this much. I'm going to take and pan it out and see what we get. Now, these trap pans are really slick. They make it real easy for the beginner because it's got these traps in here, not like the old style metal pans. Old style metal pans are good looking and I like them for nostalgia reasons, but for seriously getting gold, these traps are the bomb right here. Your gold's heavy. By slurring it, you work it down to the bottom, and then it gets stuck in behind these traps, and the lighter stuff you just wash off. It takes a little bit of practice and technique to get proficient with your panning, but all it takes is a little practice. It's not all that hard. You just slurry the material and work it on down to that focal point down in the bottom, and all those heavies are gonna work through that light stuff, and the light stuff comes to the top, heavies go to the bottom, and you just keep it right on that focal point, semi-liquid, not too high up. See how the material locks up here? You can't pan with it locking up like that. Too far down under the water, though, you can't really see it or get too good of action. Semi-liquid, I guess that's the word. Semi-liquid right there. And you just keep slurrying that material, letting that heavy stuff work its way down to the bottom, light stuff work its way off to the top. Now I'm gonna go kind of slow because these are concentrates. Pick any of those larger size rocks off, and I gotta keep an eye out on any of these quartz pieces because a lot of times you can find pieces of gold on there. A little bit of shimmy action, slowly working that material on down there. Easy does it. Now I'm gonna bring it back and fan it. That's what they call fanning action. Bring your material back. And yellow gold, woo! Look at that piece. That's a chunk of gold right there. This is still attached to the quartz, though those are hard to find. See if I got any more in there. But see how that yellow quartz back there, and it's got that gold still stuck on it? There's a couple other pieces of gold in here. Yeah! See right here? 1, 2, 3 little pieces of gold, and then this chunk. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, that's a little treasure right there. I'm gonna save that piece and as a memento of this trip out here. Nice quartz mixed with gold. I got some other gold in here. Let me show that to you. Hey, look at that. That looks like some silver right there. That's silver chunks right there and right there. Mixed silver and gold, silver and gold. Yeah, this is a good little secret mine back up in here. I'm happy about that golden quartz. Well, I'm gonna head for the bar and see if I can dry off. It's gonna take a whole set of new clothes though. I'm pretty wet out here. Pretty tired too. My back's hurting me from bending over. Those old time miners weren't as tall as I am. But that's some nice yellow gold and silver. Those miner 49er old timers found a lot of gold, but they didn't find it all. There's still a fortune left to be found. $500,000 just laying there on the ground, waiting to be picked up. All you need is a little fortitude and what I like to call gold fever.
It lets you know when it's time to go, when it starts to snow. Listen to that, I'm a poet and I don't even know it. It's getting cold, time to head for the barn.
Well, we didn't get the big nugget, but we did find this guy, which I really enjoy. I'm gonna hang him right here in the office, right next to another painting my dad got
and I enjoy stuff that tells a story. You know, you look at this and it's a conversation piece. This guy's a dandy on his way to the gold fields coming from New York City, and it just reeks of a story right there. Just like this one, the old guy out there telling a story, my dad's old painting. I really enjoy these pieces. And then I also found it in the Gold Prospector magazine, which was really cool. It's right here in the pages of the old Gold Prospector magazine. So I think my dad enjoyed this one too, because this is a magazine he put together. We also got some other stuff in the auction that was pretty cool that we put over in the conference room. We'll go over and check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this piece didn't sell in the auction, but Cindy got the winning bid on it. She bid on it later. This is an old gold scale. It's got to be 160 years old. You don't see these every day.
Isn't it a beauty?
Yeah, that's a beautiful scale, all right.
Yeah, I just had to have this piece. I love it.
Yeah, I like it too, because I can weigh my gold on it. I come in here, get my ounce of gold that I found out there, put it on there, and then weigh it up.
Hey, what about the big ones? I got the...
Yeah, you can...
What is this, 30 ouncer?
32 ounces just in this, and so when you add those on there, you probably go up to about 100 pounds right there, 100 ounce nugget. So we get the 100 ounce nugget, we can weigh it over here with our scale. But didn't win the 100 ounce nugget, but we did get some mining stocks. I got these in the auction. They were really cool. They're all from Yavapai County. There's a Crown King mine. That's a famous Arizona mine. I'm going to give these to my brother for his birthday. So he's going to get, that's what he's getting for his birthday, is some mining stock certificates. Well, we've had a lot of fun on today's show, and you know, think about getting involved in prospecting. There's a lot of gold out there to be found. It's a lot of fun going out there and getting it. A lot of history. This stuff is really cool. A lot of heritage as far as prospecting goes. GPA is a good organization to get started in it. I highly recommend them, and I really appreciate you tuning in here to the show, and we'll see you again for another one of these gold fever adventures.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't get the nugget, but we'll find one.
Okay.
I'll help you find one.
Let's go right now. Let's go keep digging. Keep digging. Right out here alongside the freeway. Big old miner in a pan. I'm gonna put this nugget right there inside the gold pan, and someday somebody will come along looking for gold in the gold pan, and there's gonna be real gold in that gold pan. Kind of like Johnny Appleseed right in there with the gold. Mariah, Mariah, they call the wind Mariah. A little paint your wagon there.